You have to wait for the company release anyway.
Where's baby Jesus?
No, I was gonna see if there's any.
Oh, there he is with us. All 10
All right.
pounds.
All right. All right, we're recording. So
Record.
there we go.
You'd be pretty good at it by the time you get
Good afternoon. I'm Staff Sergeant Scott Olomon, and today I'll be giving you a quick brief on motorcycle helmet safety and you. What we're going to talk about is the helmet defined, the components of a helmet, how riding without a helmet affects you, and how to identify an unsafe helmet. Through this portion, we'll also talk about the different styles of helmets. I've been riding for just under a decade now. Dirt bikes, road bikes, some street bikes, and one of the largest components of safety, go back up. One of the largest components of safety is wearing a motorcycle helmet. This is the one piece of protective equipment that will could save your life. Next slide. As I spoke before, what we're going to talk about in the induction, helmet defined, components of a motorcycle helmet, types of helmets, the cost of riding without a helmet, and how to identify an unsafe helmet. Next slide. We're going to watch this quick little video from the Army Safety Center, Fort Rucker, Alabama, about motorcycle helmet safety.
You know, motorcycle gear has come a long way, just like motorcycle technology. What's the single most important piece of equipment?
It's gotta be the helmet.
Don't get too pumped up, all right? Stay focused.
You hope you never have to use your helmet, just like you hope you never have to use a seatbelt in your car. But crashes do happen, and we can't predict when or how. In any given year, plenty of people make good use of their seatbelts, and a lot of riders are glad they're wearing a helmet.
There's a twofold benefit to wearing a helmet. One is a prevention aspect, where it helps you read traffic better, hear traffic better, be more comfortable on the bike, enjoy the ride more, you can pay more close attention to what's going on around you. And then secondly is the benefit should you have a spill, where it protects the cranium should your head hit something like the ground or another object of some kind. You have the initial impact that causes some kind of deceleration. So the brain will move against the cranium, and then the cranium is going to move against something else. And what the helmet lets you do is buffers that area between the cranium itself and whatever the impact might be, which softens the movement of the brain, which is the whole goal of it.
The modern motorcycle helmet's job is to absorb energy. It does that by multiple layers of expanded polystyrene, soft on the outside, harder on the inside. Works like a shock absorber on a motorcycle wheel. It absorbs and dissipates any impacts that come from the road, or in this case, from the outside of the helmet.
Well, the primary sticker you see on the back of a helmet is a DOT sticker, stands for Department of Transportation. They have established standards for helmets to be sold in this country, and primarily ensures this helmet has the key features for safety. It helps even in very low speeds. It's not just a high-speed protection this provides you, but even just a minor spill that you learn from protecting the brain.
In the event of a crash, a motorcycle helmet will help reduce the risk of brain injury by 67% and the fatality rate by 34%. And on top of that, wearing a motorcycle helmet will give you a better riding experience.
Good helmet has aerodynamic, smooth design. Keep it quiet while you ride. Also provides full face protection and eye protection with a face shield, and in cold weather, an aero skirt to keep you warm. But when you ride a motorcycle, there's always an airflow. And as long as your vents are open, the jaw area, forehead, air is channeled through the internal liner and then exhausted out the back vents, keeping the rider's head cool and comfortable. Here's a 20-year-old classic. For the same size head, today's model holds a thicker shock-absorbing liner, but is lighter because of more modern materials. This is one reason you should replace your helmet periodically. Not only do materials degrade over time, but technology improves. This is an example of a helmet that fits way too big, providing a gap between the helmet and the cheek. Also allows the helmet to roll forward, obstructing vision, and it's not nearly snug enough on the forehead. Now here's a good fitting helmet. There's no gap between the cheek and the cheek pad, traffic. The three-quarter helmet provides head protection, but the full face provides additional coverage for face and chin, and you can never have too much protection.
It's one reason we recommend a full face helmet, because it doesn't just protect the cranium, but also protects the rest of the face, the eyes, the nose, the teeth. The cosmetics are involved that would actually lead to more long-term recovery time. So the benefits, the risks are actually reduced by wearing a helmet. You can be safer, you can enjoy the ride more if you wear a helmet.
Wearing a helmet shows that motorcyclists take themselves and their riding seriously. Hey, wearing a helmet is a statement about your attitude towards riding. Here are 5 key messages for any motorcyclist. Get trained and licensed. Wear protective gear. All the gear, all the time. Including a helmet manufactured to the standards set by the DOT. And of course, ride unimpaired by alcohol or other drugs. Ride within your own skill limits. And be a lifelong learner by taking refresher rider courses.
Motorcycling is serious fun. Make it simple. When you grab your key, grab your helmet.
What it really means to be a safe rider is all the gear, all the time. Are you ready to go ride?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
All right, next slide. So, motorcycle helmet. What is a helmet? A helmet is any of various protective head coverings, usually made of hard material to resist impact. A hard hat that is worn to protect your head. Next slide. Now, the components of a motorcycle helmet vary slightly on the version you purchase. However, most helmets have these 15 components. Supervent. Supervent is inlets that allow air to come inside the helmet to keep your head cool while riding. I-port gasket. This is nothing more than the inner lining on the inside of the helmet here that holds all the material into position. Pro shield, eye protection, face shield, whatever you want to call it, it does the same thing. It is some sort of lens that you can see through that keeps outside debris, rain, anything else from obstructing or going directly into your eyes. 4 is the breath deflector. Breath deflector is set up in the lower portion of the mouthpiece, so as you breathe out, the hot air doesn't fog up your shield. Side vents. Side vents down here in the lower portion. You'll find these on full face masks or modular masks. Once again, this allows airflow to come inside your mask to cool you off while you're riding. It gets fairly warm inside these. Now you notice you won't see them on 3/4 or half helmets, as we'll talk about those later, because there's no protection there, there's no material. The double D-ring is a key component in safe helmets, is that it's it's where the chin strap goes through for adjustments underneath your chin. The spoiler is set for aerodynamics so that the helmet doesn't get vibration through wind. Rear vent is where the air goes out after it's come through your helmet, taking the hot air out. Outer shell is normally made of a smooth liner, something that when it strikes the ground or slides across the ground, allows the helmet to move freely across and doesn't get lodged up by gravel or debris, doesn't catch. Impact absorbent liner, they talked about that in the video. That's just nothing more than the protection between the inner liner, the outer shell, and your head. Side plates. Side plates are normally the pivot points here on full-face helmets. And this just is a mechanism where the pivot point is for your face shield. And what the purpose of this is to cover that pivot point, so once again, you don't have bolts or anything else sharp extruding from the external side of your helmet. Comfort liner. Comfort liner is the interior piece of the helmets in which your head actually rests against. Normally made of soft synthetics so that they don't become immensely dingy or degrade over time. Also make your head a little bit more comfortable inside the helmets. Base gasket. Base gasket is nothing more than a rubber seal around the base of the helmet that seals off the outer shell, inner liner, and the protection material so that it's all closed off and mud, water, debris don't go up there and rot out the inside, or you don't get other foreign debris in the inside of your helmet. It just kind of seals it all together, all 3 layers. Chin strap. Chin strap is an adjustable piece that holds the helmet to your head. Next slide. What are the different types of helmets? Full face helmets, off-road helmets, modular flip-up helmets, 3/4 helmets, and half helmets. We have 3 of the 5 displayed up here. You have 2 full face helmets here, 1 3/4 helmet, and 1 half helmet. What we don't have up here is a modular or an off-road helmet, but we'll go into pictures and descriptions here shortly. Next slide. Full face helmets. Full face helmets are called that because not only do they have protection of the upper brow, the sides of your face, but they also have a chin guard. Snell just recently has impact rated the chin guard the same standards as the side or brow of the helmets. Next slide. Off-road helmets. Off-road helmets are designed for a larger chin guard for debris and also impact. It keeps your face a little bit further away from the helmet, so any sort of direct impact is absorbed by the helmet. Most of these come with no visors, which is normally worn with dust-proof goggles, and goggles you can take on and off. One of the big things is the visor on this is also designed, one of the few designs that are common to helmets that have a protrusion from the helmet. And most of these are breakaway, but they're designed to keep the sun out of the rider's eyes and also deflect debris. Next slide. Now you have modular and flip-up helmets. These are becoming overly popular, much more popular. When they're fully assembled, it has the same protection of a full-face helmet. And when you lift it up, you can talk, eat, drink, or whatever else you want to do without removing the helmets. Becoming immensely popular in that aspect of not having to take your helmet off to do natural day-to-day activities. Next slide. 3/4 helmets. 3/4 helmets is called 3/4 because it only protects 3/4 of your head. It has the side, brow, back. However, there's no chin coverage, nor is there eye or face coverage on a 3/4 helmet. Here's a good example of a 3/4 helmet here. You'll notice the protection around the brow, the side of the helmet, but yet open in the face. So when riding with a helmet like this, you should apply some sort of eye protection. Next slide. Half helmets. Half helmets have the same front design as an open face, but there's no lower or rear or side section for protection. This just covers the upper cranium and provides no protection anywhere else. Next slide. We'll talk about the cost of safety. Some people argue the benefits of helmets and personal liberties and freedoms. We're going to talk about why states mandate or state laws on wearing a helmet while riding, and why in the military we wear helmets when we're riding. The big thing is the public pays. And this comes from longer time in rehabilitation and public assistance of medical bills. Riders without helmets cost more to treat in hospitals, spend longer time in rehabilitation, and are more likely to require some form of public assistance to pay for medical bills and rehabilitation. In 1991, prior to enacting the helmet law, California's state medical insurance program paid $40 million in the treatment of motorcycle-related head injuries, and that dropped to $24 million after they enacted the mandatory helmet laws. So we'll go to the next slide. We're going to talk about inpatient care, state savings, and the 1/3 rule, or the 1/3 process. So the average charge for inpatient care for motorcyclists who sustain brain injury is twice the charge of motorcyclists receiving inpatient care for any other injury. The average savings for prevented brain injuries in Hawaii, Maine, Missouri, and New York was $15,000 in inpatient costs per incident. So that means every time there was an inpatient cost, there was $15,000 in inpatient per incident in those states. What we have over here is potential savings if 100% helmet laws were in effect. So you kind of see off to the left. And this is over from a 13-year total for each state. Now think about that in taxes and how that could affect state expenditures. The average hospitalization for riders without helmets were 1/3 greater than those of helmeted riders, $7,000 to $5,000 in a study of Illinois' injured motorcycles. Now that's, once again, that's per incident. Every time there's a injured motorcycle rider, that was the statistic they came up with. Next slide. So studies that focus on the issue and though percentages vary, one central point remains clear, that either whether taxpayers, insurance customers, or medical consumers, we all have to pay for these injuries. If we're a rider, not a rider, we have to pay for these injuries. Private studies conducted in California put the average hospital administration for non-helmet rider at just below $20,000. Of this, the initial amount, 70%, as you were, 72% of the cost of hospitalization were paid by the state of California. 10% being paid by other tax-based sources. Another study found that 57% of inpatients listed government Medicare as the principal payer of inpatient hospital costs, resulting from motorcycle crashes. We're going to go to the next slide. I don't hold stay here. So this is the total for states without helmet laws of what could be saved over that 13-year window. 4,638,173,956 over a 13-year window. So now that we've talked about the cost of safety, what I want to talk about is how do you identify an unsafe helmet as a purchaser or as a leader? Next slide. How do I identify unsafe helmets? Next slide. So we identify unsafe helmets, novelty helmets, fakes, and knockoffs by the thickness of DOT-approved helmets. DOT-approved helmets are normally never less than an inch thick with the polyurethane material on the inside of the helmets. Between that and the inner layer, outer layer, they're normally never less than an inch thick. So if someone has a helmet, or you're looking at a helmet and it's about a ½ inch thick or real thin, chances are it's not a safe helmet. Chin straps. Chin straps are never bolted in, not from the point of adjustment. The portions in which lock onto the helmet, then the double D ring, as we talked about the components earlier, this portion here, see the chin strap will go through. So the chin strap isn't directly bolted into the side of the helmet that you adjust. The double D ring should be secured to the helmet system, and then the chin strap is hooked in somewhere else. The weight. Normal DOT-approved helmets weigh approximately 3 pounds or greater. As technology advances, are getting lighter and lighter, so this won't be necessarily the exact standard 2 to 5 to 10 years from now. But however, novelty helmets normally weigh ounces. Safety stickers. As they talked about in the video, they talked about DOT safety stickers. Now, the other aspect that not only will most helmets have a DOT, but they'll have a Snell sticker or a ANSI, which are private organizations that conduct safety standards on motorcycle helmets and other safety equipment. For it to have a Snell standard, it must complete the testing for that organization and meet DOT standards. All by federal law also requires for manufacturers to input manufacturer labels with the model, year it was made, and where it was made at on the inside of all helmets. If that doesn't exist, then chances are you're looking at a novelty helmet. Next slide. So in conclusion, we define what a helmet is, the components of a motorcycle helmet, different types of helmets, the cost of riding without a helmet, and how to identify an unsafe helmet. What I really want you to take away from this is I want you to understand why state laws exist, why the military mandates us to wear helmets, how to identify components of a helmet which you might consider purchasing, and you now have to understand that there's a multitude of different styles which are all safer than wearing nothing at all by the studies provided and the statistics of the dollars amount saved. And last but not least, you can know how to identify a helmet that's not safe. So you don't waste your money on it, your soldiers don't waste their money on it, and that nobody gets injured. So this concludes my informational speech on motorcycle helmet safety. Thank you.